Thanks for stopping by today. In this presentation, I'd like to talk a little bit about my educational philosophy and approach to instructional design. For as long as I can remember, I've always enjoyed learning, teaching, explaining to people how things work, invoking curiosity, and involving people in their own learning. I believe deeply that every individual, every person is equipped with an ability to learn. I believe that we learn more in informal learning than in any other type of learning. I have always been delighted to watch and see how children learn, how they absorb, how they are little recording devices picking up everything around them, and how they are assimilated into their life. And the amazing thing is that they're not even aware they're learning. It is a shame that this passion for learning, this curiosity about things diminishes with age. So one of the strong points that I believe as a philosophy is that people have to learn to learn, and they have to learn to love learning, because learning can be difficult, but it can also be a lot of fun. As Aristotle has said, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. This is an all-important issue in my philosophy of education, is that the heart must be involved in the learning. Learning must touch the heart. So I want to stress that point before I go on to talk about some of my ideas about the constructivist philosophy and model of education. The old adage says, tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I might remember. Involve me and I will understand. And this is a guiding principle behind constructivist theory of education. People learn best by being engaged in the learning, by being involved, by participating, by sharing in the learning, by constructing their own learning. And the e-learning model lends itself to this. It lends itself beautifully to it because it gives people the ability to be self-directed in their learning. It gives people the ability to use tools like social media and wikis and blogs and other tools where they construct and build their own learning using their own ideas. So people learn best through involvement, through hands-on, through practice, through sharing ideas with others. This is the strongest way that people can learn. Now there are other models that we can use, and we can't only stick to one all the time, but I believe that it's the most powerful and the most useful theory or philosophy for educating. Now that I've talked a little bit about my educational philosophy and approach to education, which is my guiding principle for all the instructional design that I do and all the components, I would like to talk a little bit about some of the instructional design models or methodologies that I have employed and that I have used in the past and that I have found to be effective. ADDIE is a tried and true approach to instructional design. It's an acronym for analysis, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. The first phase in the ADDIE model is the analysis phase. And in the analysis phase, you're assessing what is the instructional or training need. The instructional goals and objectives are established. The learning environment and the learner's existing knowledge and skills are identified. Some of the questions you might want to ask at this phase are, who is the audience and what are their characteristics? What new behavior, what new skills, what new abilities should be the result of this training? What type of constraints do we have on the learning? Logistical and many other types. What are the delivery options? What forms of instructional delivery will we use? And what is the timeline for the project completion? An important outcome from the assessment phase is going to be the instructional objectives. And the instructional objectives are going to be the guiding principles in the design phase. It's going to tell you what needs to be learned, how it needs to be learned, and how we're going to know that it's been learned. And so carefully crafted instructional objectives are so important in the instructional design process. Because as Yogi Bear used to say, if you don't know what you're aiming at, you're going to miss it every time. So you need to have a good target, and you need to know what you're trying to do so that you know that you've achieved it when you've gotten there. The information that has been gathered and analyzed in the analysis phase are going to be the reference points for the design phase. The design phase is going to look at what are the delivery methods that are going to be used. What are the instructional strategies? Are we going to use online learning? Are we going to use in-classroom? Are we going to do one-on-one training? Or are we going to use a blended approach with combination of both? We're going to look at what is the duration of the training, how much time is going to be required. Are we going to have sequential learning? Are we going to have block learning? We're going to be considering the materials like manuals and job aids and other things that will have to be developed for the training. We'll be considering, most importantly, the assessment tools that we will use to see that we've reached the goal, that we've accomplished the results of the training. In the design phase, the blueprint is created for the instruction. In the development phase, it's like the building is being built. The components, the parts are being put together to build the building. In this phase, e-learning modules will be developed, storyboards will be drawn up, manuals will be created, assessment tools will be created, and all of the materials that will be required to conduct the training will be assembled and compiled.